Welcome in, much love fam. Trav here, and we're here with Craig J. Mount working on Esper Hero for Standard. How are you, Craig?
I'm doing good, thanks.
And Craig's next tournament is Magic Fest Denver, and Craig is a serious player. He's in our mastermind group, and we're doing some one-on-one. So I know people have been asking to see me play. Well, not going to do that today, but we're going to watch Craig play and help Craig get better so he can achieve his goal in Magic. So Craig is coming with a Esper Control. Why are you working on this deck? Why did he pick this deck?
So I played a lot of, I played a lot of Esper Control kind of in prior metagames, and it's always been kind of more my style, right? I like the decisions, you know what I mean? I like the longer games. I like, the whole, I guess, like, point of the deck, which is just to control, like what other people are doing. And I feel like you had a lot of good tools to do that. Board wipes, Credit Carnarium, exiling everything, Kaya's Wrath, and I think that, it's probably a good, control. I always feel like is like I feel like aggro always sets the pace for like any set, and then slowly like control decks become more prominent because they start figuring out answers. And so I just feel like it's a good time to kind of start doing that.
So Ben Friedman, one of the coaches in our group, he just won a Grand Prix Magic Fest with a version of this playing Hero of Precinct 1. It looks like you've cut Hero of Precinct 1, so why are you playing the Hero-less version?
I don't know that I necessarily have any, specific reasons for it. I guess, so Hero of Precinct 1, I feel like is, I don't know, and this is just my personal, take on it or whatever, but, playing Gruul against a list is, it's pretty hard, right, if you have, I just feel like that matchup with Hero of Precinct doesn't really do what you want it to. If they get their big creatures on the board, you basically just have blockers, and I know that you're, creating a lot of them, but it doesn't really kind of answer the threats that Gruul puts out. And so I do like the more sit back and kind of sit back and kind of see what they do, kind of the strategy more, instead of subbing those out and replacing them with other tools.
So basically,
Card Draw, Elder Spell, things like that.
Kaya's Wrath basically being, you're switching Hero more or less for Kaya's Wrath, the hard sweeper, yeah.
Right, and Excellence Binding too.
So some thought, we were just talking about metagaming, next level metagaming, something to think about. I just looked at I don't know if you saw the results from Grand Prix Taipei.
I haven't.
But the top 8 was won by Bant mass manipulation, and there was a lot of mass manipulation at the top. So I think what's an interesting thing is people, after Hero won the Grand Prix and then Hero won, I think it was the SCG, people thought, okay, let's play decks that are good against Hero. So the Esper players went and cut their heroes for Kaya's Wrath like this. However, as we got to the top of the metagame, now you have these Esper decks without Hero, which are a lot more vulnerable to mass manipulation. This deck's pretty vulnerable to mass manipulation, right? Because your win cons are planeswalkers, more or less. And then those mass manipulation decks ended up on top, where maybe Hero versions actually would have been better because they give you some more game going wide. You don't care as much about mass manipulation. So I thought that was an interesting thing, kind of seeing the metagame switch around. I'm not sure which one is better today, but you're also looking ahead at another tournament where another set comes out. So I think it will pay to be flexible. Regardless, I think Esper is a good choice. It's been good for a long time, and some configuration of it will be good. Kaya's Wrath is pretty amazing. You want to look for as many ways to get free wins as you can, and just playing a sweeper is a way to do that. If you kill 3-4 creatures, you get a 4-for-1. You get not just a 3 or 4-for-1, but oftentimes you get 10 mana out of that for only 4 mana. Is huge. And then a couple cards that have really, well, this got a lot of new cards from the new set, but I think Oath of Kai is an amazing card. Obviously, it just gains you so much life. But, can you click on your sideboard? Okay, so you said you had some problems with sideboarding. Specifically, what matchups are you unsure of, or what was your thought on that?
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so the matchups that I have the most trouble with are actually the ones that you just mentioned, right? Band manipulation, as well as, the Simic version of it. Yeah, I mean, pretty much the Krasis, issue, right? In dealing with, Nissa. And so that's where I feel like I can sideboard effectively against Gruul and Phoenix and Mono Red, but yeah, those ones just cause me the most issues. And honestly, it's a situation where it's like one thing I was really a big fan of was that's actually not on this list is Unmoored Ego. But then it feels so situational. It feels like you kind of have to draw it like right away. You know what I mean? And I think if you put like 2 in your deck, what is that? Like only a 20% chance that you'll get it, something like that. But including more is just not really practical. So I don't know. Like controlling Krasis has kind of been difficult for me. And like I said, the mass manipulation.
Yeah. So some thoughts on that. I don't think you're going to win by controlling them, just because since they have a superior top end through both Krasis and mass manipulation that's targeting what you're doing. I mean, if you are going to control them, it's going to be through discard, like Thought Erasure to take the Krasis, Dovin's Veto to counter the mass manipulation. However, that's really vulnerable to them top decking, and also because they're getting on board early with not necessarily the most pressure, but some things. My approach for those matchups would be to go under them and become less reliant on planeswalkers or permanents, so that you don't care as much about mass manipulation, and so that you can also try to close the game before Hydrated Krasis get out of hand. I just don't think that you can match their late game there. So when I'm looking at the list that you have, I'm definitely thinking I want all the history of Benalia's. And I like Under the Gods Eternal, just so you can get on board and get under. If your win condition is history, and Basilica Bellhaunt, if your win condition is history, you don't care so much about mass manipulation, and you also don't care much about, or you can also kill them before Hydrated Krasis. It's like, right, they're going for, you just want to fundamentally change your strategy. So I don't know if
so honestly, Oh, sorry, I was just going to say, so the hero version of the deck is probably better, right?
In those particular matchups, yes, because you have an early game and an alternate way to win. And blue-green doesn't really have ways to remove it other than stealing it, and Bant doesn't have that many ways to remove it either. Although, I mean, I don't know how many slots you have in your deck, but I don't, like, my understanding of the hero version is a lot of what was making it so good is you start hero in game 1, and then you side it out and become control in games 2 and 3. I don't see why starting as a control and then bringing in hero wouldn't be a good strategy. Like, I know History of Benalia is good, but hero seems like it would be pretty good in some of those matchups too, coming off the bench. It's something to think about.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, as it is, I would, in those sorts of matchups, all the histories, Basilica Bellhaunt, Enter the Gods Eternal, maybe Duress, would cut the sweepers, because we're going to be adding to the board ourselves. Would probably go down on Planeswalkers just because you don't want them stolen. You can keep Narset and Teferi, but a big Teferi seems like it becomes a liability at that point.
Okay.
Yeah, but if you want to jump into some matches, we can do that.
Yeah, okay, let's do it. Sorry. Somebody released an article in the group that basically said that this deck was going to rise to prominence, and I can't remember who or where, but do you know what I'm talking about?
Was it before or after Ben won his Grand Prix?
I believe it was, when did he win it again?
Like 3 weeks ago? 3 weeks ago?
I believe it was after.
Yeah, well...
Okay, so, I guess, how do you want to do this? Do you want me to explain my thought process?
Explain your thought process.
Okay, so my immediate thought process is to, I guess, like, mulligan this hand. It's just, the land isn't quite there for me. I can't get off a Thought Eraser on turn 2. If this wasn't a Plains and it was like, something that I could, you know what I mean? Like some other kind of permanent that I could get, then Thought Eraser becomes more, reliable to get that like third land, right? So that's kind of my, where I'm at.
Yeah, ship it. The way I look at it, risk losing the game, not even getting to play Magic, reward an average hand. And your deck is full of ways to gain card advantage, so that's pretty unnecessary.
Okay, so this is obviously a keep.
Yeah.
I think,
Yeah, I mean...
turn 1, drop Catacomb, turn 2.
I'm never a fan of mulliganing on the play, but you want to get to play a game of Magic.
So that's interesting. I think I want to keep that, right?
But it doesn't it doesn't allow you to cast anything you don't already have.
Right.
There's plenty of lands in your deck. There's only 4 big Teferis. So.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Alright.
I think like with this hand, I mean you have Thought Erasure and Teferi to find lands if you need to, but even if you miss your 4th land, with what you have, it doesn't hurt you right now.
Okay.
And you do want to hit Landrust, but you're not like a Hydroid Krasis or a Mass Manipulation deck that like scales, You don't necessarily need more than 6 lands in a game.
I don't know what's going on right now.
It's on the opponent, or is it lagging?
Okay,
It was just taking forever.
Okay, so here, just swamp, pass.
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
Technically better than Drowned Catacomb because it conceals what you're doing and it gives you swamp. It doesn't really matter though.
Yeah. Okay.
Glad you bought him that land, yeah? No?
Yeah, exactly. That makes a lot of sense. Okay, so here, I don't think it matters, Drowned Catacomb or Glacial Fortress. Just play Glacial Fortress.
Fortress comes in tapped.
Oh, yeah, I'm dumb. So, we're gonna play Drowned Catacomb.
Yeah.
And then obviously we're gonna play Thought Eraser. We're gonna see the goodies this guy has. And it looks like a mirror, so... I think get rid of Little Teferi.
Yeah. And then you want to keep in mind of his oath so you can keep your Teferi out of reach.
So this I don't think I need either.
Yeah,
right?
you don't need. I mean, the way the game's going, like, he's going to empty your hand and grind you out with those Bell Haunts unless you're able to get a card advantage engine. It would have been nice to take a screenshot or write down the cards. And, oh, never mind.
Oh, and he's going to return a favor. Nice topic.
He only has 3 lands, so it didn't say if he kept or not.
So I guess let's play planes.
It's not looking too good. He kept, so the question is, yeah, I imagine he would keep a land. I feel like that was wrong of him to play that Oath of Kaya. Not super wrong, but when he could save it to damage a planeswalker.
Yeah. Especially since we're running so many.
Yeah.
And so he's going to be able to play his Basilica Belhaunt, so I'm going to have to get rid of something.
Yeah. It could be either a cast down or a land, and I think you're going to look to try to 2-for-1 back in with Kaya's Wrath. I kind of like pitching cast down because you're going to get both with Kaya's Wrath, and if you keep a land, you have a chance of drawing Teferian, big Teferian actually running away.
So we're going to resolve this, discard this. Play Glacial.
Yeah, you're actually okay. It's as is gonna probably be. We'll see how he plays.
I actually like that he played the Oath of Kaya. I don't know. I'm kind of like, you know, if I need to negative my Teferi or something like that, or, you know, balance with little Teferi, it's less scary.
Okay. Yeah, you're not that far behind. Okay.
So I guess we'll just play the Drowned Catacomb, Guy's Wrath.
Yeah, I like playing the land there. I mean, normally you want to hold a card, but in this case, you don't want to lose it to a third Belhaunt.
So that's just pretty much who draws Teferi first, right?
Yeah, although he's got more buffer just because he has more life. An Oath. That's probably worth playing, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
nice.
That's a lot.
It was a good thing if you had played that land. If you had held that land, maybe he would have played his third Belhaunt, and then he would have had the Belhaunt in play. You wouldn't have been able to Thought Erasure it, and he'd be able to pressure your Narset. So that's a small thing that made a big difference. And he should have played his Belhaunt as well. That was a mistake by him.
So this, we just play Narset, we negative, and we go looking.
Yeah, I'd specifically look for something to remove the hero so that you can Narset a second time.
So we got a Cry of the Carneum. I don't know that I have the mana though, so that was probably a mistake on my end, tapping
Yeah.
the land.
It sucks, but it is what it is.
So I guess the next best option is a Dovin's Veto.
I think you still want Cry of the Carnarium, probably.
Just for next turn? Okay.
Yeah, so, yeah, the mistake there is, I think you had to think in advance what you wanted to find with Narset. In that case,
what should I tap?
Yeah, would be a removal spell, and then what removal spells you have access to. But yeah, sometimes you have to eat the mistake. I think if you pick, like, Dovin's Veto or something, maybe that would have been fine, but you're still going to need to answer that hero and the tokens that it's going to generate.
It's like, what's the bigger threat? You know, the potential that he's going to get card advantage, or, you know what I mean? Like, the threat on the board, right?
At this point, he only has one Basilica Belhaunt left in his deck. I think it's worth holding the land.
Okay, and then, do you want me to play Cry?
I think so, because Narset's static is pretty good. If he draws a Teferi of either sort, then it will prevent him from drawing extra cards and give you more time.
So he's going to bounce it.
You're still in an okay position. You need to draw something good again. Not looking too good now. If there's a key moment in the game, it was not thinking ahead on the Narset. Because if you had -4 this turn, there's a good chance you would have found something to put the game away.
Yeah. I agree.
Although,
That helps.
yeah, you can't draw extra cards though.
I know.
Well, neither can your opponent.
So, I mean, we can tuck something. We can tuck the hero. We can tuck Narset. Tucking Narset, but then it's just like we lose to Fairy if we tuck Narset, and then then he also gets to. Well, he can't draw the hero of Precinct 1 if I tuck that. But I can't draw unless I tuck Narset, so.
Yeah, well, you're not going to be drawing anyway if you lose the Teferi, so.
Tuck the hero?
Yeah.
I like that decision too.
Yeah, so what's going to end up happening, we'll see what he does with his Teferi, but he's ahead on loyalty in a race towards. He's also slightly ahead on cardboard.
Yeah, if he didn't play that oath, we'd be in a lot more trouble, so.
This is another reason why I personally like Hero, because it attacks Planeswalkers.
So what is he gonna do? That's an interesting decision.
He tucked your Teferi.
I know.
Wow.
I almost wonder if that was a mistake.
Oh, I think if he just raced to Ultimate, he would win. But now you have a lot more time. And that's also a pretty good card to draw. Yeah, that was really good for you that he made that mistake. Because I think if he just starts taking the Ultimate, you're probably going to not be able to stop him. Now you're in a decent position to take out his Planeswalkers.
And I know I'm getting a Teferi.
You're getting your Teferi at a higher loyalty than before.
When I have the time to take out an Narset.
Yeah,
so.
you can protect your Teferi. Sorry, your Narset. He is not getting value off the +1. The fact that he discarded Narset is interesting. It means he's got another strong card.
What could it be though? I mean, another Planeswalker?
It could be another Teferi, which is why he would minus it.
So he's thinking, do I play this?
I don't know. It's something that
+1.
He top decked it last turn because he was what, empty hand. I'm trying to remember.
But Narset, you'd be able to draw something. I don't know. You're right. Maybe the way he's thinking is the way I win is a race to.
So now I think there's extra time to actually start thinking about sideboarding.
Okay.
And whether he's going to keep his heroes in.
I think we bring in another Elder Spell. I think Dovin's Veto, maybe? I don't know.
What cards are coming out?
He brings in Duress, I mean, obviously.
So obviously your sweepers aren't going to be that good. You could consider keeping a couple cries maybe to deal with the hero. You definitely want History of Benalia. Just strong pressure.
Okay, so I think here I keep the Narset, move to combat, and take out. He discarded a Narset.
Which one of those is more of a threat to you?
I think the Narset, or sorry, Teferi,
Yeah.
obviously, because Teferi can end the game.
Yeah.
But in its current state, it's not. I don't know. I'm gonna move to combat and then take out the Teferi.
He might remove the thing, but yeah, I like going for the Teferi. The static doesn't. It will matter a little bit. Well, yeah, I guess you play that.
You want to play the other Narset?
Why not?
I don't know. I was just thinking about it. I was like, do I keep it? Then it runs the risk of being discarded, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to draw Teferi next turn, you would 8 mana to do both. I think it would be reasonable to wait. But,
So do I downtick?
yeah, definitely. I mean, there's no reason to wait. Like, it becomes vulnerable to the Elder Spell. Okay, you also want to think about what you want to see before you even see the cards. And possibly should have done that
again.
It probably matters less, though, this time. Well, we already knew there was Teferi.
I mean, you take the Teferi, right?
Yeah.
The other side of that is like, do we take the thought right here? I was just thinking about, like, I'm just like, what is this guy at?
I think the opponent's not very good. What's your rank?
This is gold right now. Gold rank 2. I fell back from last season and I haven't climbed since, so.
Yeah, I can't even imagine what they... Assuming they're good, I can't imagine what they kept over Narset that wasn't a counterspell or a removal spell or a planeswalker. I'm trying to imagine even what card they're holding. It wasn't something to counter Narset. It could be something that costs 7. Does this deck play anything that costs 7 or more?
I think Ugin and Command the Dreadhorde, maybe?
Ugin 6, but I feel like Command the Dreadhorde would have been played already.
Okay.
I mean, another Narset makes sense, but I don't know why they wouldn't have played it.
I'm just trying to think about things that I'm afraid of, and I think Command the Dreadhorde would scare me a little bit.
He has a lot of life, yeah.
We got a D-Spark. Okay, so order of operations, I think we attack the Narset first.
Yeah. That forces him to decide to use his Tyrant Scorn.
And hopefully a D-Spark.
Man, Othakaya does so much work on life.
Yeah, it does. Okay, so he didn't play it. If I play Teferi, he's going to D-Spark it. Am I looking for something to protect my Teferi with Narset?
Yes, probably, or even an additional Planeswalker. But you're starting to get card advantage to take control of the game, so yeah, you're looking for a way to shut the door. Yeah, something to get your Teferi through. Or an additional Teferi.
Okay, so am I worried about something? Well, I guess Teferi would, my second Teferi could take care of anything that he played, so D-Spark maybe. And then definitely not this one.
Yeah, I think just a second Teferi, because now you have the draw card. He can take out the first one, and the second one can run away with the game. And the first one will also give you an extra card in this interaction.
So am I worried about any... Okay, so I think that's appropriate mana to cast this spell. If he has some kind of...
It doesn't really matter, but it probably would have been better to play a land first marginally, because it just affects his decision making. Oh,
it's interesting that he quit.
I think he's just not that good.
You're probably correct. So, he's probably sideboarding in, I don't know, Duresses, maybe another Elder Spell, Ixalan's Binding, getting rid of his I guess, useless cards, right? Like,
It's hard to know how someone's sideboarding, especially if they're like at a lower level, because they might.
do anything.
Yeah, but I mean, as is, you don't need all your removal.
So which one should I get rid of?
Kaya's Wrath, because it's the most expensive. Well, it'd be nice to have a small selection to pick from. You want to keep Ixalan's Binding. Probably Cry the Canarium and Cast Down can go. I don't mind having Kaya's Wrath. Like, it was good that game, and it can catch you up. Personally, I really like History of Benalia.
Running out of time.
Yeah, get in some History of Benalias, and then you
I
can
would need less.
I don't even think Liliana is necessarily that good, is she? 6 mana.
I use it mostly for Gruul.
I would want to get just as many histories so that you can run away with an early game. And yeah, I mean, like, you want how you win and lose this matchup most commonly is going to have to do with runaway planeswalkers. So you want as much planeswalker removal as you can too, and history does that.
Oh, it looks like it didn't. Alright, looks like well, it's dumb.
Oh, did you not submit?
Yeah. Okay, so I guess thinking this through, then, this isn't a bad hand to keep. We don't have a lot of black mana. Well, so we'd have to hope to draw a second for Basilica Belhaunt and Cry the Canarium, but it's going to be 3 turns before we draw that, so it's, I actually don't mind this hand.
Yeah.
Keeping it.
I don't love it, but I don't hate it. You have answers to most of the
Little
things you can face.
and, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Your mana, and your planes unlocks everything.
So let's get Thought Erasure. I bet it gets rid of what? Ixalan's Binding?
Well, it's hard to say. It really depends on what he's holding. Dovin's Veto. That means maybe he's hoping to drop a little Teferi next turn.
Yeah, that would make sense. So we can't do anything here, right? But
no.
I think we just play
Hang on. So, what's your ideal next turn?
Yes. That's it.
Gotta always think a turn ahead. Yeah, guessing he's got a Planeswalker almost certainly, otherwise, yeah. This is where it would be pretty nice to drop a History of Benalia.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is probably our best play.
You're not.
And then, what are we looking for?
Something to do next turn, possibly. Well, you have Ixalan's Binding for Teferi, I suppose. You can't cast Basilica Belhunt next turn, anyways. Probably something to attack. No, you can't get that. I don't know, Planeswalker. Teferi's always good.
Yeah, that Elder Spell's interesting as well, right? I mean, he'll have 2 Planeswalkers on the board, that might be decent value. And then bumping up our Narset to be able to further dig, or do we just want the Teferi?
It's close. One thing to think about is you can't play the Elder Spell next turn, anyways. And then,
well, I would want to play an Ixalan's Binding, right?
Yeah, but then if you play an Ixalan's Binding, Elder Spell becomes less exciting because there's only one Planeswalker.
Okay.
I would probably grab the Teferi. It's close though.
What are we Ixalan's binding?
Probably, I don't know, you could decide that next turn. The Elder Spell could have been okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying we should have went that route. I just was just thinking it that line of play through, I guess.
I'm not certain on that. I mean, one thing about the Elder Spell is you only have 2, well, you have 4 Teferis. So now you only have 1.
So the question is, do we play Ixalan's binding right now and target Narset?
Probably.
And I don't know that I like that as.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, probably not.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't like that either. So I guess we can just play a Godless Shrine, right?
Yep.
Tapped.
Yep.
And then just pass to him. Because we still have a Basilica Bellhaunt that we can play next turn if we need to.
Yeah, especially with Dovin's Veto up. So one cool combo, you can use Teferi to bounce your Narset.
Oh, that's less fun.
Yeah, I mean, there it almost wouldn't matter, because if the Elder Spell was correct, you would take it. So he's tight on lands.
Yeah. So this Thought Eraser was actually a really good draw because, you know, he's going to have to choose if he's going to use the Dovin's Veto or not.
Yep. Thought Eraser's good, yeah. Although I would almost want to leave him with the Dovin's Veto because right now he's hamstringed on mana and he's like keeping the mana up. So I mean, yeah, I like playing the Thought Eraser, but
I see what you're saying.
But you might choose something else if he lets it resolve.
Alright, so we Thought Eraser.
He probably should Dovin's Veto just because he can't afford to be keeping all this mana up. So yeah, I think the way to try to win this game is Teferi Ultimate.
So we got a mana, he's playing his Teferi, which is a target for Ixalan's binding, assuming he doesn't have a Dovin's Veto.
Yeah. Well, here's where maybe the Elder Spell would have been... No, I still like Teferi here.
Assuming he didn't pitch it either. But then we'd have a Basilica Bellhaunt. That's interesting. Well, so I think we just, I think we target the Teferi with Ixalan's binding.
Yeah.
But then he can use his little Teferi, right?
You're pretty fucked, to be honest. I have to think about how to even come back and win this game.
Well, I think we play Big Teferi then. And then maybe, see what that does. Okay, so he doesn't have an answer.
Yeah, I'd spend some time to think about sideboarding through again. So, to me, it looks like he may have cut his heroes. So you could think about like cutting all your creature removal.
I like tucking his Teferi.
Yeah, that seems good. But this is why I think history, or even like your own hero, just anything that pressures planeswalkers is really good.
Yeah.
By the way, a cool thing you can do with History of Benalia is bounce it with your own Teferi.
That is pretty cool, actually. What does he do? He bounces his Oath of Kaya.
He doesn't necessarily have the mana to play another thing, though.
Yeah. And if he plays his Oath of Kaya next turn, okay. That's interesting. Why would he? That doesn't make much sense to me. Sorry. I mean, it's fine, I guess. Whatever. I'm still gonna lose.
Yeah.
So we don't keep Cry, because that card's pretty useless right now.
In a tournament, this is when I am holding my sideboard in the other hand, and I'm
Trying to think it through.
thinking about game 3.
Okay, so he does have Hero of Precinct 1, Basilica Belhaunt. He has 2 Oath of Kai's right now. I guess we could get rid of his card draw.
Well, he left his hero, so you know that.
And then we could Ixalan's Binding something right now, because he can Dot Erasure us next turn.
Yeah.
So I guess we just Ixalan's Binding Little Teferi, because that's the only thing that can really deal with this.
Yeah.
But then we can't draw anything with because of Narset. We'd basically be on like a 2-turn timer to draw something.
Yeah, I mean,
That's okay. I'm going to take Little Teferi. And then I'm not going to play land because of Basilica Belhaunt. His next turn is probably Hero Precinct with Dot Erasure, maybe. And then he wants to get rid of my Cry.
So the Teferi that I tucked, he grabbed with Narset. That's the one in the graveyard now, yeah?
Correct.
So don't necessarily need to worry about that. I mean, I guess you could technically win this game by just top decking more Narsets and stuff like that.
So he's going to get rid of the Cry, as we thought. So it is kind of good we kept the... I guess we have the same sideboard as last time. Let's...
I think you could concede if you wanted at this point.
Okay.
There wasn't really...
He's going to play his Basilica Belhaunt. Yeah, he's going to get more on board. I guess I could have drawn Kaya's Wrath, maybe, but it's probably better just to move on. Okay, so knowing what we know about what he kept, does that change anything about our sideboard? So we're still getting rid of the Cries and the Cast Down.
I think so.
Histories. Okay.
Going on the play, I like Duress, History, I like another Belhaunt. You just want to be able to pressure Planeswalkers.
Okay, so get rid of the Oath of Kai's.
You want all the Oaths, though, because Oaths deal damage to Planeswalkers, and they're an answer to Hero.
Okay.
Yeah, I would cut Wraths before Oaths. I don't actually love Despark that much. It does kill Teferi, but it doesn't kill much else. It's a little bit inflexible.
Ixalan's, but yeah, you can get rid of an enchantment too, but that's probably better. Yeah.
And then I would play probably all the Elder Spells. I think Elder Spell is better than Delvin's Veto when you're on the play, because you're going to be tapping out in your 3rd turn. And then I'd like to get him that 3rd Belhaunt. It's a pretty nice card.
Do we cut maybe Delvin's Veto? Or...
I think you could cut Delvin's Veto. I think it's... Yeah, on the play. I like Delvin's Veto a lot more on the draw.
Well, and plus Little Teferi, I mean, would we even get to play a Delvin's Veto, you know?
Yep, this seems good to me. You don't have that many answers to Hero, but I think that's okay.
Because we have our own threats, and we'll probably be able to get them off first.
Yeah, also it's not a guarantee that he's playing them, especially he's played 2 games with them in.
I wonder if he even sideboarded last game. So we're obviously on the play.
Yeah.
This is great.
It's good. I don't know if I would say it's great, because you want to have Narset or Teferi on or even History on turn 3, but you've got triple blue, double black, you've got a white. I mean, you're definitely not going to mulligan that. I would probably not duress turn 1, because the only way you're playing something turn 2 is if you draw Search for Escanta. And if you wait, you get to take from one more card.
Okay, I like that. I wouldn't have considered that line of play, so.
By the way, this is one of the reasons I like playing Hero in the deck, is just because of the sideboard confusion it creates.
So he drew one more card, and we get to duress it now.
Yeah, it's probably better to do now, even though you have no turn 3 play.
Right. Okay. So I think it's just Auto Rager.
Yeah. Yeah. Make sure you play your land.
Right, I'm just trying to think, is there any... My turn 3, I'd probably want to play, I guess, this
Yeah.
land.
I've seen that at the highest level occasionally. Someone thought seizes at the Pro Tour and then writes down all the cards, and then they pass the turn without playing their second land. I think LSV or Sam Black or someone did that, like in the feature match area. I think it was LSV.
That's funny.
I think he probably took the wrong card there. You can't even cast that.
So his next turn he's going to play a hero.
Or he's going to play a Planeswalker if he's drawn one.
But we have an Oath of Kaya, so yeah. I think we're
definitely save
not
it.
worried. Oh, I hate when they do that.
I like the shit talking on Magic Online.
That's why I never switched.
It'll only be better if there's a vent and you can actually hear them.
That's funny. Okay. So...
Can you hover on Teferi? I want to read it. There's not really a need to kill that now, when you could possibly get more value. My door just opened on its own. I'm going to shut it.
Okay. So we play a Hallowed Fountain, tapped, and then pass.
Yeah, that seems fine. You can get better value with the Elder Spell.
Okay. I'm just trying to think, like, what is his next turn? And I think his next turn is obviously hero into something.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to know just because it really depends what he draws or they draw.
So he's going to draw something else.
By the way, I keep saying he, but it's in a Johnny Goldman, so Johnny's a he.
Okay, that's interesting that he probably has a Dovin's Veto then?
Yeah, I think Duress is a great draw just to figure out what's going on there.
No.
Looking good.
Here I like playing Oath of Kaya and targeting hero.
Yep.
Although, if I did target that, Little Teferi would die if he wanted to draw again, but I don't know that that's better.
No, yeah, you want to get the hero off. And then...
I'm just thinking it through, so...
You haven't played a land yet, by the way.
Correct.
Although, yeah, I guess you want to play it. I was thinking if he plays Bell Haunt, what you would want to discard. But you probably just want to get your Teferi down.
So he drew again.
That's where it may have been correct to Elder Spell that a while back, just to prevent him from getting the card advantage.
Yeah, because now he can draw twice.
Yeah, but, I mean, however, you play here, Teferi, you tick up, next turn you Elder Spell, and you're gonna emblem very soon, yeah. Yeah, I like trying to run away.
And do I keep the land in hand?
Yeah, I think you
Just in
keep
case
the
for a
land.
bell hunt.
Yeah.
And choose these.
Elder Spell is a sorcery, yeah. Yeah.
Did he draw another Elder Spell? Is targeting my
That's a sorcery, yeah, Elder Spell. Craig, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Elder Spell is a sorcery, correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, okay.
So, right now I just like to wig him out.
Oh, wow. He tapped his mana wrong. No, he didn't.
So he can't.
No, he tapped it correctly. Oh, that's interesting. So
he's going to target this.
Yeah,
he's going to bounce it.
Yeah, I guess maybe you know, if you had played Elder Spell on turn 4 or whatever, you'd actually be in quite a bit better position. Although it's not significantly worse because you still have Elder Spell.
Plus we have a search, right? I mean.
Yeah, but if you had taken it out, he would have 2 fewer cards that he wouldn't have drawn, and he would not have been able to take out your Teferi this turn. And you would have run away, so even if we win, I think we can look back on that as being probably a mistake.
I like playing Glacial Fortress here.
Yep.
It doesn't really matter.
Cards, you have 4 cards in your graveyard?
About to have 5.
Yeah, that actually helped you. Well, it was fine. So if you graveyard this, you flip your search, yeah?
No.
It's 7.
So if I keep it though, I still get to. I honestly don't mind keeping it.
I think it's fine.
Because I still get to surveil.
Yeah, and you'll put about a 7th card in your graveyard so that you can.
I'll flip it next turn. Alright, so let's see what he's got. Nothing.
We kind of knew that, right?
And I guess we keep that.
Yeah, we're not going to surveil, I suppose.
And so that's not a terrible spot. So we just gotta hope he doesn't draw anything.
But even if he draws something, we're in pretty good shape.
We're gonna uptick.
I think it's close to actually bottoming or tucking his creature. I kind of like tucking his creature. I mean, you're going to have extra resources of cards to discard to it. But if you...
Plus I have, and search triggering next.
Yeah, and if you uptick it, the Bell Hunt might even be able to take out your Teferi in the following turn.
That's a good decision.
Okay, perfect timing. Because I'm going to have to get going in a couple minutes. So,
that works.
Couple things from what I saw is definitely like thinking ahead to next turn, but thinking ahead before you play a Planeswalker, what mode are you going to use and what are you going to look for? Like before you play your Narset, before you play your Teferi, what mode? It's just better to think. Like, something Paul Vitor does is he takes really long tanks. Arenas, you have your ropes, so you can't do this quite as much, but especially in paper, you have like a really long tank where you figure out like a bunch of decisions ahead of time, and then you're able to do that quickly, but also that prevents you from making smaller mistakes like tapping the wrong lands, or like realizing you want to do something different. And then also thinking ahead to sideboarding is a good practice mid-match, anytime that the action starts to slow down. And then thinking about risk-reward, thinking about how you can win, how you can lose. And then I'm not really sure on which version is superior in the metagame, but yeah, I think you can see from Hero of Precinct 1 how it just, it occupies a lot of mental space in sideboarding.
Mm-hmm. Because the cards that you need to deal with it, right, are the sweepers, and that's okay.
Or spot removal, which you can invalidate by siding out, or it's not good versus anything else in the deck. Yeah, either way is fine though, and I think you'll be able to stick with Esper from whatever comes out in Magic 2020 and play this at Denver.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. Well, thanks a lot. I appreciate it, man. This is great.
And then your schedule for the next one, you could schedule it soon, or you could save it till closer to the event.
I might just use it and then maybe do a couple more. I know you said diminishing returns on them, but I feel like with the new set, maybe.
Yeah. If you want to do more, we could do more. What I meant by that is, like, I just have found that to be true. I mean, we used to do like 5 lessons when someone joined. You don't need infinite, I'm sure of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you think it's valuable and want to do more, you can do more.
Okay. Well, I think the only reason I think doing more is because I don't know that maybe just like thinking correctly is probably maybe just a little bit of overlap with like the things that you'd mentioned are kind of newer concepts to me. So like thinking about sideboarding while you know a game is lost, right? That's something that I hadn't considered prior. Same thing with the mana tapping. So just like general concepts might help to just get like a just brush up on that.
You have the scheduling link through MeetMe, so if you want to just schedule it for whenever, we can do that.
Okay.
And then anybody else watching, because I'm going to put this up on YouTube, who's made it to the end, that wants this sort of coaching or to be part of the program, there's be a link down below to sign up, so you can do that. And yeah, thanks, Craig. I'm going to get running. And much love to everybody watching.